Hey there, everyone. This is Christian Eschbach. Welcome to Confessions of a Domestic Engineer, or as I like to call it, Code. And buckle up, this is gonna be a fun one. Alright, everyone, as I mentioned, this is going to be one hell of a episode. That's right, I'm already cringing, and I have recorded the episode already. I know what I've said, and I know how some people are going to react. So, before anybody loses their mind, my apologies. I would like you to please visit me on Patreon, where you can subscribe, be one of my Patreons. My Patreons get exclusive content. That exclusive content right now is very heavy in the form of audio. I have original poetry on there. I have music from my band, The Howling Odyssey, on there. I've got some original photography on there that you can download and use as a desktop in various sizes. I try and put up exclusive content at least 4 or 5 times a week, even if it is just something small. And otherwise, you know, I put all these videos up there as well for everybody else to watch. But there's also a couple little subcategories in there too, you know. You can be, I have 15 exclusive spots where, you know, if you watch my album reviews, if you want to pick an album, you become a subscriber of one of those exclusive spots, and you guaranteed that once a month I will go out and buy and review the album that you want me to review, unless, you know, it's like some impossibly hard to find, and then I'll say, hey, I can't find it or whatever, and get back to you. Or if you know, some weird album that, you know, they made 10 of, so it cost me $1,000. It's not happening, folks. Let's be reasonable. The other one is, there's another group as well. If you are into cool photography, once a month, I'm going to put together and send out packages of contents for people that subscribe to 50 lucky people that subscribe to the monthly thing, where I'll send out a little package. We'll call it like a mystery box of original photographic artwork in one form or another. It might be fridge magnets, could be postcards, could be a poster. Who knows what it's going to be? But I'm going to do that once a month. Anyways, that is my pitch. So please, Patreon, link below, Patreon, link below. Click on it, visit me, and become a Patreon. Also, you know, the more money I get, the more I can increase the video quality, stuff like that. You know, all the basic stuff. Anyways, let's get on with the show. It is the month of June in North America. It is Pride Month. I have no clue if it's Pride Month anywhere else. Fucking awesome. Alright, great. Wonderful. Let me start by saying, totally, there's no such thing as gay rights, it's human rights. Okay? Let's be very fucking clear, alright? There is no reason why gay, lesbian, bisexual, whatever the fuck, can't do everything that straight people can fucking do. End of fucking story. We're in the year 2020. This shouldn't even be a really up for discussion anymore. And the fact that it actually still has to come up as part of a discussion, kind of fucking bullshit. And woo, potty mouth coming out of me right now because, wow, I can't believe I gotta talk about this crap still. Getting way off topic. So anyways, I went to school, in high school specifically, in the 90s, through the early to mid 90s, alright? You know, I was in by like 92, out by like 97. Big changes, huge. When I was in school, there were no same-sex couples, okay? Did they exist? Yes. Did they exist? No. Not until almost the end of my high school days. And one of the very first public, fully outed couples I knew. I didn't know they were a couple, for starters. But I knew one of the couple. I'll get into this, and this is going to be a fun story here in a second. Okay, so, anyways, like 96, 97. they made it into the Windsor Star for actively fighting against their high school so they could attend prom together as a couple. Because at that time, high schools would not allow same-sex couples to attend prom as a couple. They had to buy 2 separate tickets. That's how it fucking was. Pardon my language. I obviously totally against this. No, that's not cool. They deserved to go as a couple. They were 100% a legitimate couple. They weren't trying to skirt the system. They weren't trying to be 2 guys that just wanted to go cheaper. Because, let's be honest, there were guys I know that tried pulling that crap, okay? And it's total BS. But these 2 were legitimately a 100% bona fide gay couple. To the ends. Interestingly, one of the 2 ends up becoming my sort of brother-in-law later on down the line. Now my former sort of brother-in-law. And this is where that one gets interesting. Okay, so anyways, before I get to that part, when I say my sort of brother-in-law, it was my ex's sort of step-brother. But that didn't even happen until after high school. Weird. Anyways, Jace is the person I'm talking about. Jace has also, since those days, also transitioned, which is why it's Jace. And, you know, right on for Jace. Fully support that. Right on. And I fully support the trans community, too. I've fully supported the trans community, also going back to the 90s, way before it was cool, you know. And it's because someone took the time and effort back in the 90s to explain the full process to me. I happened to be sitting in a coffee shop. This is going to be really fun. I happened to be sitting in a coffee shop, and there was a woman that had just finished doing an interview in there. The woman was born with both sexes, so I'm going to use the word hermaphrodite. I can never remember what the new word is. I hate the new word. Given a choice between being named after a god or having some stupid scientific name, I want to be named after a god. So when I use the term hermaphrodite, I use it in the most glorious context possible. All right. So she was a hermaphrodite, but she chose to have surgery to fully correct, or I don't want to say correct the right word to use? Anyways, to fully augment into a solid single being of a woman. Dear God, that was try and come up with. Okay, so anyways, she explained to me the whole process that they had to go through and everything like that, the whole psychological evaluations, stuff like that. And I found it really interesting, and all the safety guards that were put in there to protect people and stuff like that. It was really cool. And I fully support transitioning and stuff like that. Right. Nothing against I had to cover all that. Let me cycle back into Pride. This episode is going to sound at points where I'm a little... If you use it very loosely, and I hate it, and use it very broadly, and you use it like you're, you know, some third wave activist, some people are going to say parts of what I'm going to say are homophobic, and I'll own that. That's fine. But let me explain. All right. So all these new... First off, one of the things that brings a smile to my face, I got to point this out, is when I see a same-sex couple walking down the street holding hands. Every time I see that, that puts a smile on my face, because I remember the wars, man. I remember the battles everybody fought for to get to that point. I absolutely love seeing a same-sex couple give each other a little peck on the street. I love seeing a regular couple give each other. Really, there's something about the expression of a couple holding hands, whether they're same-sex or, you know, traditional or whatever the hell you want to say, okay? I absolutely love it. It's fantastic, and I will always support... I'm a hand holder, okay? So I will always support holding hands, and when I see it, I always smile. It doesn't matter who it is. But I remember what people fought for to get to the point where same-sex couples could do that now. And when I remember that, You know, it reminds me of everything everybody went through. And this is why I don't like these young kids that are always boomer this, boomer that, boomer that. Because they forget about the boomers that made this possible for them. And it was the boomers. In some cases, maybe a little bit older than the boomers even. Let's start with Freddie Mercury, okay? Poster child for gays. The first poster child for gays, okay? At least in the music industry, you know, openly gay. And Freddie took a lot of crap for that. And the fact that Freddie died of AIDS really didn't help anything, because, you know, there's those sickos that blame all that AIDS thing on act of God, or, you know, to punish gays. And I don't believe that for a second. That whole AIDS thing, living through that and remembering as much of it as I do, man, I still have nightmares about what those people went through, everything that happened. I remember being in a hospital. My grandmother had broke her ankle, and she was right across the hospital from a woman who had AIDS. And her and her husband had contracted it, I believe, it was either through blood transfusions, or he was sleeping around with a hooker. I can't remember what it was. But the woman was directly across, and it was such a horrible, fearful time. There was a big biohazard sign, because she was full-blown AIDS. Big biohazard sign said to have, you know, like the full biohazard gear going on in there, like you were walking into the doomsday scene from an apocalyptic movie, or, you know, oh my god, like, you know, some virus outbreak movie or something like that. It was horrific. But my grandmother, who was also very, very devout Catholic at that time, was doing medical transcriptions, and she was doing a lot of medical transcriptions for homosexuals related to the AIDS crisis and that. And my grandmother, once again, she was very dedicated Catholic. I heard her say stuff. She was a boomer, okay? They say stuff. But she never said anything ever horrific, and when I say horrific, I mean, you know, they're gays, they deserve it, or anything. My grandmother never once believed that. Never once. At least never that I heard out of her. And I mean, she took the time and effort, you know, like I was 10 years old. She took the time and effort to explain everything to me, because she already knew about it. So there was, you know, none of that misconception shit. So now that I've covered all that, going back, you know, to Freddie here, first off, tell me he's not sexy in that picture. Okay, I mean, I'm straight dude, totally straight dude, but come on, that's a little sexy. But Freddie here, first gay guy that I totally knew was gay, okay? Totally, couldn't doubt that. But music icon, man. I'm into rock and roll. How do you not love Queen, you know? And this is before Queen was cool. How did you not love Queen? Now going from there, we got the next poster child, Elton John. All right. Someone else, once again. Now, let me say that I wanted to find a really cool picture of Elton John. I had to go with this picture because Elton sings while he plays. So in almost every picture, he looks like he's going. And when I'm talking about Pride Month and stuff like that, I don't need a picture of Elton John going, you know, I'm given the wrong idea, right? But this one I thought was cool. He looks badass in this one. But Elton John, man, my mom was an Elton John fan. It was one of the things me and her could agree on in the car on trips and stuff like that. You know, which was kind of cool. You know, that and David Bowie. David Bowie, once again, not gay, but, you know, bisexual. I grew, you know, David Bowie. I grew up with these guys, okay? And Alice Cooper, the Alice I got into was after that. But, you know, okay, Alice, we're going to leave Alice out of this. Even though Alice is very much a part of it, but we're going to leave Alice out. But, and even Bowie, you know, we're going to move on. Back to Elton, though, okay? Elton, by the time I was 100% totally listening to music on my own, I already knew Elton and Freddie, but knew both of them were totally gay. These are guys I grew up with. It was cool. I didn't give a shit. Who cared? They made good music, man. They made great music. They were awesome performers. So who gave a crap? You know, Liberace, same thing, okay? The guy reeked of it. I mean, look at this picture. Liberace just reeked of gay. Who cares? He was talented as all hell. That's all that mattered. You ever seen that Liberace movie, man? With Michael Douglas? Or is it Kirk Douglas? No. Because I always mix these things up. Anyways, fantastic movie. Holy crap. Wow. And that performance was top notch. Anyways, going off topic. What I'm trying to get is, I grew up, I already knew these guys were gay. And then comes the 90s. And the Metal Legend comes out. And the Metal Legend comes out, and at this point I think I was around 15, 16. And I remember quite a few of the guys I was hanging out with, they were all really kind of put off by this. They were all like, well, Rob Halford's gay. I'm like, Rob Halford was gay this whole time. It hasn't changed, you know? Like, look at his style, okay? That's, first off, I love this coat. I had a coat that looked not as studded, but, you know, had the tassels and stuff. Like, I love the tassels, man. That's cool. Anyways, you know, biker leather gay thing. That was Rob Halford bringing that gay scene into metal, okay? Or whatever way. I don't care how you want to say it. It was always there, and there was something I understood early on, and when I found out Rob Halford was gay, I didn't give a shit. Now, to be fair, I wasn't into Judas Priest, really. I didn't get into Judas Priest until I was actually into my adult years, and well into my adult years. But Rob Halford is a metal god. And the dude's got an amazing set of pipes. And the holy trinity of, like, metal vocalists, as far as I'm concerned, is Dio, Halford, and Dickinson. And I don't give a shit if he's gay. Fucking right on. Okay. So, now I've covered all this stuff about me and how I feel about gays and homosexuals and, you know, all that stuff. Here's where we get to the controversial part of the episode. Alright, so bear with me. Now, what's bringing about the controversial part of this episode is there was a incident recently in Ottawa, in the Ottawa area of Canada. Alright. And you can see the picture here, okay? You can see the crosswalk, the pedestrian crossing, and you can see the tire track mark that goes through it. Big ass. Right after it was freshly painted. Alright. So, first off, I'm not cool with the pride crossings. I'm not. I understand, okay? I do, I understand. I wholeheartedly understand. But I'm not. I don't think it's okay. And I'll explain why in a minute. Now, the whole reason why this article is here is because the person that has that pickup truck, alright, is now facing a $5,000 fine and is scheduled to appear in court in Brockville on July 9th. Now, I personally kept the person's name out of this. I don't know if the person was intentionally being an asshole and trying to deface it because it was a pride flag. And if someone's being an asshole and purposely defacing it because it's a pride flag, then they deserve the full $5,000 fine. I personally, I don't agree with the crosswalks. I think they're absolutely silly, and I think it's a flex on behalf of the LGBT community, but I'll get into that in a moment. Just wait, okay? Anyways, so we're going to say that this person was being an asshole. Or not being an asshole. Could go either way. That's why I'm leaving the name out. Now, personally, the tire mark going across it, I can understand from a graffiti perspective. Lighten up the tires and burning it through there, I get it to add a little mark. But the question is, if this had been a regular pedestrian crossing, 100% normal, run-of-the-mill, nothing special about it, pedestrian crossing, would there be a $5,000 fine? Now, this is why I have small issues with these crossings. Because now, if anybody does anything to deface these crossings, there is always going to be the question of, is it a homophobic thing or is it just being an asshole thing? Alright, now, right now, I know some people are already on the cusp of the, oh, dude, stop now, don't go any further, because if you go any further, you're going to piss people off. Okay, I'm going to go further. I'm going to piss people off. I got two sources here for the information I'm going to use. Now, first thing I'm quoting is from an article that was found newswire.ca. All right, this was from August 9th, 2017. News provided by Foundation Jasmine Roy, whatever that is. I didn't go into too much. I've just got this part here. This was from a quick Google search, okay? Everything, even the images you're seeing today are all quick Google searches. Okay, so, according to LGBT Realities, the first pan-Canadian survey on LGBT communities conducted by CROP, C-R-O-P, for the benefit of the Foundation Jasmine Roy, 13% of Canadian population belongs to the LGBT community. Alright. So, 13% of the population is effectively getting special treatment with crosswalks. Now, I'm okay with pride. I understand pride. The stuff, the garbage, the horrible injustices. Horrible injustices that people that belong to LGBT have had to endure just in the last century. Just in the last century. Is disgusting. I mean, chemical castration? Couldn't serve in the military until what, like the 90s? Early 2000s? I'm talking about Canada, not the US. I don't even know what's going on with the US with that crap anymore. I think they're allowed to serve. You know, you could actively be put in jail if you tried to serve and you were a homosexual. Like, what the hell? There was some sick, creepy-ass stuff being done back then. Just not cool. But, and that's why I'm cool with pride, you know. I get that. Just like Black History Month. I get Black History Month as well. You know, major injustices there. I get it. And the reason why I specifically say Black History as well is the Black community percentage-wise equals about the same as the LGBT community at about 13%-ish. But remember that 13% of the LGBT does include the Black community, so, you know, it's not like it's 26% right there. Okay, let's be realistic. Okay, now I'm going off topic again. Let's move along. Alright, so the next thing here, StatsCan. Love to use StatsCan. Socioeconomic profile of lesbians, gays, and bisexual population, 2015 to 2018. That was the article I brought up. I'm just looking at a specific snippet here. Okay, according to CCHS data from 2015 to 2018, an estimated 900,000 Canadians were lesbian, gay, or bisexual, representing 3.3% of the population aged 15 and older. Now remember that last article was 2017 and said 13% was. And they were both Canadian. So figure this out, okay. Within this group, a slightly larger proportion identified as bisexual than lesbian or gay, 1.8 versus 1.3. Women were more than twice as likely to identify as bisexual than lesbian or gay. That's understandable, you know. I mean, if you look at how women are, you know, women are very much that way. 2.4% versus 1.1, and men were more likely to identify as gay than bisexual, 1.9 versus 1.2. And it's really funny when you get to that last one. Buddy of mine, his dad, he'd fall under that old school kind of boomer with the bigoted comments, and he used to say that when it came to men, bisexual meant they were just halfway there, or they were on their way the rest of the way. And I used to think that is a horrible comment to make, but, you know, even that helps back it up, you know. Okay, the LGBT population was younger than the heterosexual population. Youth aged 15 to 24 comprised of 18.3% of the lesbian or gay population aged 15 or older, compared with 13.7% of the heterosexual population. And bisexual men and women, 36.2%, were 2.5 times more likely to be aged 15 to 24 than their heterosexual counterparts. Wow, man, that just reads really messed up. Anyways, so as you can see here, if you look at these numbers, homosexual population or LGBT population only make up so much of the population in general, but they're getting these crosswalks, and these crosswalks are leading to vandalism just for the sake of vandalism. I'm going to say bare minimum, leading to vandalism just for the sake of vandalism, because yeah, let's be a gearhead and, you know, use our absolute IQ of 90, light up our tires, and go through the pretty painting on the ground, man. And that's the type of crap that's going to encourage. You know, I'm not even saying that it's hate, you know. Like, if there were swastikas on it, okay, yeah, it was definitely hate. But someone lighting up their tires, it's not even a hate thing. But I guarantee there would not be that fine for a regular crosswalk. I'm not a fan of these crosswalks. I really am not. It's virtue signaling. It's, look at us, we're cool, we're hip, we're woke. You're not fucking woke, okay? You're not. If this is what you think being woke is, first off, you're a pampered, catered to child baby that doesn't know what the hell anybody had to actually suffer through. If you think this is something that you just deserve, okay? You don't just deserve it, all right? Now, if there are certain areas that are very much the gay neighborhood, okay? Like Toronto's got this huge area in the downtown market zone, is very much considered an LGBT community. Within that LGBT community, I absolutely, without a doubt, would say, alright, cool, throw one or two of these crosswalks in, that's fine. But I personally think just use a regular crosswalk, because no one's going out chasing the guy or finding the person for, you know, putting skid marks through a regular crosswalk, okay? It's just not happening. So, do we start punishing everybody for going through the crosswalks like that? Well, if you ask me, yeah, we should. I absolutely hate people that do that. But we're not doing that. We're just chasing after the ones that are doing the stuff that we're going out of our way to make, so they will go out of their way to do. It is. It's a vicious cycle with these things and what's happening with it. And it is that whole purposely being designed to cause separation, to cause a break, to cause people to get at each other's throats. I'm a huge supporter of human rights. I'm a huge supporter of equality. I am a male domestic engineer, all right? I support all kinds of out-of-the-box thinking here. This isn't out-of-the-box thinking. This is let's go piss people off. This is not the same as hanging a pride flag on your house, okay? This is not the same as having a parade once a year to remember the hardships that we inflicted upon people, even within my own damn lifetime, okay? And I'm not talking about the petty stuff, you know, like where people say that Friends, the TV show Friends, is homophobic because of the way they always go, that's gay, that's gay. It's unfortunately just the way that people talked at the time. And let me tell you, most people that said that's gay back then, they weren't talking about, you know, that's two men having sex. I mean, come on, the word gay started out as happy, okay? If you look at it that way, it's not like they were going around saying that's fag. You know, that's a whole different thing there. But You know, I mean, I remember when Ellen came out, you know, I remember how Ellen coming out affected so much of the entertainment industry. I also now look at how Ellen is a spoiled little brat and has been allowed to get away with too much because people were afraid to say something about her, because the second you say something, she automatically gets to pull the card, the homophobe card. And it has been done as well. And I guarantee someone's going to say it about this video as well. And I'm in no way homophobic. Sorry, folks. I encouraged my daughter to be a lesbian because I thought it'd be easier than her being with a man. That's bad dad humor. Bad dad humor. I know. Anyways, what I'm trying to get at is, yeah, this is horrible. Alright, folks. So what I'm trying to get at here is, if you're going to do virtue signaling like this, if you're going to go out of your way to wave red flags in front of bulls, because once again, looking at the numbers, okay, let's go with the big number of 13% of the population in Canada is LGBT, okay? So with that 13%, I guarantee you there's at least the same number that are very much anti-LGBT. Just for religious purposes. Because there's this section that appears in the Jewish Torah, the Muslim Quran, and the Christian Bible, and it's in all three of them, because they all take place in the exact same section, where in the Bible it says, man should not lay with man, and if he does so, he's an abomination, and blah, 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 blah. That's in all three of those books, okay? Christian, Muslim, and Jews, okay? Now, those three groups, well, Jews make up a very minute percentage. Minute. Jews make up less than 3% of the Canadian population. Muslims make up approximately, I think it was 13, and Christians make up 20 some odd. Okay, so when you get in all that, you get those hardcore ones in there, guarantee you're going to get 13%. So it balances out. Which means you're going to incite a lot of people. It's just not cool. You just don't go out of your way to incite people. I mean, it's the reason why people don't go out of their way, even if they are hardcore neo-Nazis. People do not hang up swastikas in their windows or along their houses. Not to be confused with the medicine wheel swastika. Okay, we're talking the Nazi swastika. Okay. Craziness. Alright. The whole way around. So, I don't like these crosswalks. It pisses off people. And honestly, it's meant to piss off people. It's meant more to piss off people than it is to try and achieve some type of harmony or some type of equality or some type of rights. Because, once again, there aren't straight crossings. I know it sounds stupid to say that, but you can't say it's about equality when there is no representation on the other side. Okay? There isn't. Therefore, it's not equality, it's special treatment. I don't believe there needs to be a straight parade, and I'm not going to argue the same argument for a straight parade, because to me, the pride parades are more about, we lived through hell, let's celebrate it. You know what I mean? To me, it's the same as celebrating, you know, Canada Day here in Canada on July 1st, or Independence Day in the US, or whatever. It's a form of independence. So I'm always going to support the parades. So I've been struggling to figure out how to end this video. Really struggling, because it is such a sensitive topic, and I just don't like the crosswalks. I know it sounds silly. But do you remember the Occupy movement? It was all about occupying Wall Street, or occupying this, or occupying that, because of the 1% that was controlling everything. if you look at the way the media is right now, specifically with LGBT, and you look at how out of control things are getting about stuff with LGBT, I mean crazy out of control. If you look at the small end of those numbers, 3% of the population, or 3.3% or whatever it was, that's it. It's a really small number. If you go up to the full 13, it is definitely a bigger number, a much larger demographic that definitely needs proper representation. But seriously, think about it for a second. If you think about the way that what we're being told is equality, where you cannot have a show without having at least, what, one gay character, or one trans character, or one bisexual character, or one character with some type of crazy whatever titling. And demographically speaking, if you have a show of like 10 people, only one at the most should be, if you look at the numbers. So why do we have all these crosswalks popping up everywhere? Seriously, I know it sounds stupid. Crosswalks are really the only thing I have a major issue with. I think the representation numbers in the media are a little overblown as well, which is why I bring it up here at the end. But the media is overblowing it to create tension and diversify everybody and to create more hostilities. And I'm not trying to create hostilities with this video and what I'm talking about. I'm trying to have an open dialogue about the truth of what's going on and how crazy, really honestly, things are getting with this woke concept in regards to LGBT. It isn't really woke. It's a falsity. It's propaganda. It is. All right, folks. You've heard it all. I'm done. Leave me a comment. Go ahead, blast me. If you're highly offended, blast me. Tell me what part of it you're highly offended by. Especially if I didn't acknowledge it when I was being offensive, because that means I didn't realize I was being offensive. Otherwise, hit the like button. Helps me out. Hit subscribe. You get notifications when new episodes come out. Otherwise, peace, love, and take care.